What I would say is translingualism is always there as a form of practice in many communities. It's not translingualism. It's not a new invention, or it's not a new theory. In practice, it's always been there. The only thing that has been slow is people coming to the realization that they do have a translingual competence, or they do have a translingual proficiency. So in my case, the mere fact that I grew up in a multilingual environment, with like 3 or 4 languages around me, and also writing in English and Tamil, then moving to the United States for higher education, where there are other norms, but bringing my own language resources with me, to begin with, created a tension. How do you resolve all these different resources you're bringing with you? What's the relationship between the languages and literacies you have in your background? So, in some sense, the tension has been creative. It has generated its own theorization and proficiency in my part. Well, I think you could go in different directions. Like some students ignore and suppress all this diversity in their background. But in my case, I don't know why, I was actually always finding ways to develop these repertoires rather than suppress any of them. Put it another way, I wasn't embarrassed about the other literacies and languages I brought with me. Maybe it's a political fact in the sense coming from underdeveloped community, and also from a minority community. Even in Sri Lanka, we were struggling for identity and autonomy. We had a strong political consciousness, and we were not going to give up language resources easily. So that helped me to explore ways of putting all this together. So, but theoretically, that brings me to mentors and scholarship that might have helped me to develop conceptualize translingualism as a form of practice that has a name and a label and an identity. That took a long time. So I would say I can't think of one mentor, but I'm familiar with this idea of piggybacking as a kind of scholarly enterprise. This is, I think, a term developed by Shakil to talk about philosophers in their writing. And what she says their way of writing is using one philosopher to move to another position, then using another philosopher to move to another position, etc. It's like piggybacking. So I think that's what I have been doing. And interestingly, it has been beyond English or linguistics. I've been also learning from, say, post-colonial scholars, cultural studies scholars like Stuart Hall, Homi Bhabha, scholars like that. So which helped me, that my area of focus was not narrow, where I was focusing only on linguistics, because we didn't have too many good mentors there, because for a long time, even now, the monolingual ideology is very strong. A lot of people are slow to develop this position. So I've always enjoyed reading scholars from other fields, and right now I'm reading even more diverse scholars in geography, in physics. There's a lot of, on post-humanism. All these scholars are helping me think about translingualism and expand it into new areas. To think about translingualism as a kind of a semiotic practice, not just about language. It involves objects, it involves people, it involves ecologies. So I think I'm always piggybacking on other scholars and developing my own point of view. But I don't think I have had one scholar. I think that's dangerous. If I had just one scholar, I might have stopped my own development at a particular point. But the fact that I'm always looking for new mentors, let's say, in different fields, has been helping me theorize this position. I must conclude by saying translingual practice is by no means completely defined, or it has stopped developing. The best work is yet to come.